Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an Airbus A330 pilot and welcome to our next flight in the A330. Today we're flying the A330-200 with the Rolls-Royce Trent 700 engines from Beijing Daxing Airport, which is brand new and has just been released by Thai Models and looking really good. At this point, by the way, thank you very much to Thai Models for providing me with a review copy. And we're going to fly it over to Shanghai for about an hour and 40 minutes flight time. So let's go ahead and get off all those covers of our A330 and then we can head over right into the cockpit to start to prepare for our flight. The aircraft is cold and dark for the time being, so I suppose we are gonna power it up real quick. And then we can go ahead and start our pre-flight preparation. So the batteries are coming on, the external power is coming on, and then let's go ahead and have runway, a look into our electronic flight bag. And it looks like once again it has removed all my custom settings. Well, we are quickly going to correct for that. And just making sure that the throttles are configured as well. This just happens every now and then. I really don't know why it's doing that, but hopefully that is going to be fixed with the next update. Now, let's go ahead and download our SimBrief data, and then we're going to have a look into our weather, as that is always a little bit of a thing in China, especially with bad visibilities, and thereafter we are going to talk about flying in metric airspace. So, our departure airport, Daxing, has CAV-OK conditions with the wind of 2103 meters per second, which equals around 6 knots, and our destination, Shanghai Pudong, has wind from the north at 4 meters per second, which equals around 8 knots. In the forecast we have 1500 meters of visibility, and that is getting worse throughout the morning, but right now the visibility is 4000 in Broome, no significant clouds. Our alternates are all looking good. At Liché we've got very good weather conditions indeed, especially for China, with very good visibilities for the time being. Now, with all of that considered, let's make a decision on the amount of fuel we want to carry. And to be honest, I don't really see much reason for extra today. So looking at this, we have only around 5 minutes extra. So let's round it up a little bit, so we end up at 13.8 for the takeoff plus 500. Let's make it 15 tons of fuel and then we will be good to go. So let's go payload, import from SimBrief, and we can increase this a little. Here we go, 15 and a bit, apply load and instant loading please, and with that we should be good to go. So we do have 197 guests on board today, which is full house for the A330-200, at least in the version modeled by Indie Builds. In the real world, a lot of airlines are operating it at even higher weights, with weights ranging all the way up to 310 passengers around about. Okay, so that's our initial setup done then. Let's go ahead and make sure that our radios are tuned, and then we can go ahead with the APU start. This is all still part of the preliminary pre-flight procedure, by the way, if you're wondering. I have just released my tutorials for the A330 and you can find them linked on the channel. Alright, and then we want to turn up the speaker as well so that we hear what is going on. Okay, APU fire test, looking good, and then we can start the APU so that we get some air conditioning going please. And here we go, wonderful. So IRS, 1, 2, 3, all going to nav, the cockpit lights are set. Let's accept the aircraft for flight. First of all, cancel that and then recall for 3 seconds, and the only message we have is the zero fuel weight, CG disagree, which we can disregard for the time being. Okay, our aircraft is accepted for service. Then let's make sure that we can actually depart. So EFB, takeoff, synchronize, and we're going to depart off runway 11 left. The weights are all looking good. Well, config 1 plus F should even be fine today at these weights. Hit calculate, and here we go with our takeoff speeds. Alright then, so oxygen is good, hydraulic quantities are good. Let's turn on the FADEC. And the oil quantities are good as well. Okay, flap lever is in agreement with the flap position, speed brakes are retracted, then let's test our brakes. Looking also good. Parking brake is set again. So, FADEC going back off, and with that our preliminary cockpit preparation is completed. So let's go right into setting the aircraft up for service. APU running, so let's get the bleed on so that our passengers can get nice and comfy on board. So batteries off and on, elect DC page, and they are charging properly. Very good. So fuel pumps, always turn the main pumps on before the standbys, like that. Engine fire test is looking good. Over here everything is set up and the PA system can be turned on. Then let's check the latest current weather condition. 040 at 4 Kavok, 4 degrees QNH 1026. So let's start setting up our QNH. Here we are, 1026. Clock onto GPS, the date is correct, and on the right hand side everything is correct. Then moving down, there's not all that much to set up over here for the time being, so let's go right into the FMS. And for the FMS we will of course need our charts as well, so let's bring those up. So Beijing Daxing, charts, and we go from the airport. So, we are not an A380 today. Even though it would be kind of nice to have the A380 in the sim, I do have to admit that much. Let's see, ground chart, area east, I think that's it. Yeah, kinda. So we are gonna take that one, and then parking charts, let's see, Terminal 1 I think is ours. Yes it is, right up here. Okay, so APC Terminal 1. And then we need our departures of runway 11 left. And we are gonna go via El Cur 4 Kilo. That is not mentioned anywhere here, then it's gotta be this one, I suppose. Well, El Cur 1 Delta we have down here, but that leads us where we want to go, so let's just take that one. Okay, with that our charts are prepared, then let's go into the FMS preparation. So it is an A330-200 with the Trent engines and the current nav database. We can delete any stored waypoint, and then onto the init. Okay, Beijing to Shanghai, and the rest here is looking good. Note the flight level 371, as we are going to fly in metric airspace today. So it is indeed 371, which equals 11,300 meters. So for our departure, we're leaving off runway 11 left, and for some strange reason it tells me we don't have any seats available. Now that is most definitely not correct. Let me just see if it knows any sits from any other waypoints. So just for the sake of it, if we select another runway, nope, same problem. Okay, well, interesting. In that case, I am just gonna program that stuff manually. That's of course not exactly what you're supposed to do. Normally, we'd go with a radar vector departure here as well, but... Okay. London database. Alpha Delta 611. Okay. So indeed it doesn't even know those waypoints. That's gotta be a database bug then. Okay, so it is a radar vector departure indeed. Well, I can live with that. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and program the rest of our departures. So we do need that ground chart here for a moment in order to find out the runway heading, which is 109 and 25 miles ahead. Like that, hold over there, 1 minute lag time, the rest is good. And for an immediate return, we can go back to Zulu Bravo Alpha Delta, new destination, arrival, and well, that's gonna be off runway 1 left then. So approach 1 left, insert. Okay, now let's go for the fix info page. Zulu Bravo Alpha Delta 1 left, track 109, and our engine out point is going to be the PBD01. Okay, nothing down here. Zulu Bravo Alpha Delta 1 left into here, and then onto the init page, next page. Well, those weights are certainly incorrect. The good thing is just click on it and it will automatically update them. Of course, that's not a feature of the real aircraft, but sometimes nice to have. So, average wind component is going to be a tailwind of 31 knots. And then we need a couple of fuel weights, which we can all find down here. And for those, we've got contingency 500, alternate 1.1, final reserve 2 tons. So that's going to be 0.5, 3.1, and 2000. Which leaves us with 13 minutes extra in the form of 1000 kilos of fuel. Over to the performance page then, and from here I am just going to be lazy today, send to FMGS, and I will just use this. Remember though, in the real world the airplane cannot do this. In the real world you can't uplink the wind, or in the real world you can't uplink the data from the EFB like that. So, derated climb 2, and with that our FMS preparation is completed. So onto the FCU, initially, well, I don't know, probably something like 5,000 or so. What exactly is the chart gonna say? Most importantly, it will say something metric, so let's go ahead and activate the meters button over here. Okay, 4,930, so that equates to roughly 5,000. Up here we should have some tables, so flight level conversion and 4,930 equals 1,500 meters. Alright, flight directors on, QNH is 1026. We'll select the constraints and the VORs. Interesting, it's not synchronizing the altimeters. Did I accidentally turn that off? No, I didn't turn it on. Okay, that's fine for me as well. Here we go, 1026. So, and you can go on like that. And here we are. Okay. So, radar vector departure it is, as the simulator does apparently not know the SIDs in the database, but that's fine with me. Time to have a little bit of fun then. So let's go ahead with our departure briefing, please. Okay, Captain. Takeoff of Daxing runway 11 left via radar vector departure, climbing 1,500 meters. MSA is 3,000 feet, respectively 900 meters, and extra fuel and time 13 minutes in the form of 1,000 kilogram. Okay, absolutely right. I don't see any hotspots for the taxi route. However, we've never been at this airport just yet, so we've got to take it slowly and carefully. If we take a look at the parking chart itself, it should be fairly easy. We're standing up here on, I think, 153. So over here, push back into the bay, then taxi out via Zulu 7, Bravo, and then onto Mike. And via Mike, we're going to taxi all the way to the holding point. As you can see over here. So Mike 1, full length, runway 11 left. Alright, stop margin for ejected takeoff should be more than plenty. Engine outset straight at 25 miles, climbing 3,000, which equals the MSA. For an immediate return, we are below the maximum landing weight. Far below it, actually. Max landing weight is 182 tons, so we can just come back at any moment should we need to. Special operations, well, they are using metric flight levels here, so we have that list on our SID chart that we are going to use, and we just got to remember that we've always got to cross-check that the correct levels are dialed in over here. Most importantly for the cruise today, 11,300 meters equals flight level 371, so that's what we are going to fly. I don't see any non-standards, at least for now. If we need to make an immediate return, then we'll have to program the ILS manually because we could not select the approach from the database. Probably a database problem with the entire airport, I could imagine. Anyway, that's something to report to the developer, and most importantly to report to Asobo to fix. So, that's it from my side. Do you have any threats? No? Wonderful. Then let's go ahead with the cockpit preparation checklist. Gear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity 14,960 kilogram balanced. Seatbelts on. ADRs. nav, baroref, QNH 1026. Cockpit preparation checklist completed. Yow, ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel. In the name of Air China, welcome aboard flight 5130 to Shanghai. Today's flight time around 1 hour and 35 minutes. Expected cruising altitude of 11,300 meters. Would like to thank you for being our guest today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. And once again, welcome aboard our Air China flight. I promise I didn't do that accent intentionally. I promise. Okay, so we're all set down here. Let's get GSX and prepare the position for pushback and departure, please. Handling by Beijing Airport Ground Services. Do you request de-icing treatment? No, not really. Did you see any icing on the walk around? There is no icing on this plane. I gotta admit, the terminal looks impressive. It looks really impressive with the large glass fronts over here. That's looking really, really cool. There's just something special on those huge airports. The same applies to Istanbul, for example. Those architects really knew how to impress people. We're sitting here in an aircraft that is not exactly the smallest in the world, and nonetheless it looks really small compared to this huge airport. I just find this super impressive. I really find this super, super impressive. Okay, so we should have gotten the load sheet by now, and the weights are unchanged. So that means our trim is correct already. Okay, transponder on, strobe light on. Beacon, of course, not strobe. And ground flight, you can remove the ground power, please. Thank you. Before start checklist. Park and brake. Set. Takeoff speeds and thrust. V1 156, VR 160, V2 161, flex 60. Windows. Closed. And the beacon is on. Before start checklist complete. So, pushback with the nose to the left, please. And the park and brake is now released. Roger, down in the push, stand by for engines. Now look at this. How small is this human over here compared to this airport? That's just so impressive. That's just so impressive. But then again, seeing all those wide bodies doing domestic flights in China is just as impressive. Things are really a scale higher over here. Really gotta say that. Things are upscaled a little bit. Okay, we're clear of the road. Clear to start engines 1 and 2 in sequence. Starting engine 1. Oh, a little bit laggy. Lovely architecture down there in the terminal, isn't it? Well, good start on 1, starting engine 2. Clear 2. So, looking good on number 1. Avail, engine 2 start. As the pushback is complete, set park and brake. Brake set. Alright guys, I apologize. The accent kinda struck with me. It's not meant negative in any way towards anybody. Alright, looks like engine 2 is running up normally. Very good. So they're removing the tuck. Ground flight, we have 2 good starts. You're clear to disconnect. Show me the sign on the right and have a wonderful day. Roger, sign on the right. Bye bye. Avail. So it's auto-trimmed itself, very good. Visibility is good enough that I don't see any need for anti-ice, so we are gonna leave things like this. Flaps are coming out, wonderful. Then we just need the handling agent, and there she comes. Holding a pin in the hands, wonderful. Okay, hand signal received. After start, checklist please. Anti-ice, off, ecom status, checked, pitch trim. That's 24.9% set, rudder trim, neutral, after start checklist complete. Flight control track, full up, full down, neutral. Full left, full right, neutral. And the rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Okay, clear on the left side, clear on the right side, let's go. Brake check, pressure 0. Okay, taxi routing as briefed. Let's bring that up just for the sake of it. So, straight ahead, to the left, on to Bravo, and then right onto Mike. I really like those ground textures over here. They just seem... I don't know, they don't look so uniform. I like that. It's still a fairly new airport, of course, Daxing, but by now I think things could be a little bit weathered over here. Okay, so back down to 10 knots. Clear on the right side, clear on the left side. And here we go, off to the left. Look at all those aircraft parking everywhere. Okay, a little bit straight now. Then auto brake, transponder is checked, weather radar set, and takeoff config is checked. I don't have any changes to the briefing. Taxi checklist. Flight controls checked. Flap setting. Conv 1 plus F. Radar and predictive wind shear on and auto. Engine start selector. Norm. ECAM memo. Takeoff no blue. Taxi checklist complete. Okay, I think that's Mike up here already. So off we go to the right, and then straight ahead to the runway. I wonder what a United 737 is doing over here. That's not exactly the aircraft I would expect in Beijing. Look at those engines on the Max. I think they look really good, don't they? Okay, reaching that turn over there, we go to the left, and that's our runway 11 left right over there. So, I have no changes to the briefings whatsoever. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. Lineup checklist. Takeoff runway. 11 left, full length. TCAS, Tara, PEX 1 and 2. Off. Lineup checklist complete. Now, let's see if VRAS is already recognizing the new airport. Okay, clear on the right and clear on the left. Let's slow it down a little bit again. No more than 10 knots for the turn. Are you ready for departure? Yes? Excellent. Then let's make it a rolling takeoff. Manflex 60 SRS, auto thrust blue.
Caution! On taxiway! On
Nope.
taxiway!
This is definitely the runway. Disregard RAS. Okay, thrust set. 100 knots. Checked. V1. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. Checked. Okay, pull heading. Heading. Thrust declimb, open climb, auto thrust. What's our speed target doing here? Well, pull speed 220. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. Sorry, flap 0, of course. Autopilot 1. It's just so cool to see the A330 here in the sim. It's 2 weeks in now and I still can't get over it. I just love this airplane. Okay, so let's continue the climb a little bit and let's see. I tend to say we're gonna go 3,000 meters, so 9,900 feet. And that's 9,900 blue. The airport symbol seems a little bit offset over here, unfortunately. But well, we are gonna fly right and turn to the south now. So 180. By now we should be high enough that noise is no longer a concern. Just a quick check on the chart, making sure that we don't overfly any of the cities over here. But that is luckily not a concern. We are mostly going over rural areas here. That's the river that we are overflying over here. So that position is certainly not correctly shown on that chart. Okay, and that heading leads us almost directly towards Elkur. Well then, continue climb, flight level 5,700 meters. So that's gonna be 17.8. Like that. And that's 17,800 blue. Checked. So, quick check, transition, altitude, QNH is around neutral, 9,850. Okay. Look at that. Beautiful weather conditions today. Nothing that I would have expected to see in China. I would have assumed that things were a little bit more foggy. Okay, so standard. Standard cross-check, passing flight level 99 now. Checked. Okay, passing 10,000. Well, it's so smooth outside, we can release our guests. And then, clear and copy, please. Set managed speed. You have that already. Nothing down here. Copy that one. Optimum 407, cruise 371, maximum 415. So I think if we go up to 411, that should actually be the best available flight level, right? Let's see that here for a moment. 411, 12,500 meters is available. Okay, so let's go to flight level 12,500 meters. So, alt cruise, flight level 411 blue, and direct to Elkur. Nav. Climb. Well, and with that we are up and on the way. So I tend to say I see you all as we are getting closer to our destination airport. Are you ready for the approach briefing? So, we are on the Sasan 91 Alpha arrival for an ILS approach Zulu onto runway 35 left. The MSA over here 3,700 feet, and the approach minimum is 220 feet. Now, the go-around is going to be a left-hand turn towards Papa Delta Lima, climbing altitude 3,000 meters, and we have half an hour of extra fuel. And that does sound very good. Now let's go ahead with the our guidance. The approach will be guided by the flight director, but manual flight, and we are going to use config full. The runway is more than long enough, so we don't need to worry about the stop margin, and we are going to keep the auto brakes off as we have to vacate rather late on the runway. If we take a look at it over here on the ground chart west, then we can see that we are landing 35 left, and we've got to vacate around about the second or the third rapid exit taxiway. From there, we'll have to cross runway 35 right, which is the hotspot we have for our taxi in. I don't see any special or non-standard operations here. Do you have anything? No? Excellent. And I don't have any threats either. So that's our briefing completed. We're already reaching 10,000, so the landing lights are coming on, the constraints and the LS is coming on. GPS primary is indeed selected, and the engine start selector is on norm. Excellent, so let's go ahead and expedite this descent a little bit over here so that we can make our base turn in a few moments, and then let's do the approach checklist, please. Barrow reference, QNH 1017, seatbelts on, minimum, Barrow 220, auto brake off, engine start selector, norm. Approach checklist complete. So, we have around 10 miles straight distance towards the final approach fix. That means if we take a little bit of speed brakes, we will be able to commence our base turn in a few moments. Now, under some situations I still feel that the light is a little bit bright over here. As you can see, we can barely make out any details of the aircraft as everything is just so shiny. Now, that's something that I do hope they are eventually going to fix in a future update. So, nice rate of descent here, 2,500 feet a minute. That way we'll be able to make our base turn in beam Papa Delta 403. And still have a nice deceleration segment in there as well. One thing you've got to be careful with when you are using the speed brakes on the Airbus A330 is your VLS, which can really increase and bring the amber band right right to the green dot speed, sometimes even a little bit higher. So that's really something to pay attention to when flying the Airbus A330. So our glass globe does start to come alive. Let's go ahead and activate the approach phase, and then heading, and we make a left-hand turn 080 onto the base leg. So extend the center line, please, out of Papa Delta 063. And let's see, our approach course 348, so 168 is the opposite. And radial in, looks good. Pull heading. Oh, you keep turning, my friend. Here we go. And heading is pulled. Excellent. So, I think we're in a pretty good situation right here and now. The speed is looking good for the base leg. We are below the glide slope, so from here it'll be an easy thing to get us onto the final approach. Then, let's have a little bit of fun. So, autopilot's off. And we'll take it over manually. Now, people keep asking me about the sounds here in the A330, and I gotta say that right now, I'm not sure why, but it is really, really quiet, and that definitely shouldn't happen like that. So, left-hand turn, heading 020, cleared ILS approach, Zulu, runway 35 left. Approach is armed, we have around 16 miles to run, Lockstar, Cat 1, glide slope blue. Okay, runway in sight. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. I'll just fly it right down to 900 meters and then we are going to do the deceleration. Speed alt star. And here we go. Alt. And speed is decreasing. If you can get it right down to the S speed by the time we intercept the final, that would of course be the most optimal situation. Lock. But you can see it's really not that easy to get the speed to reduce here. That's the A330. That's how it flies. So that is actually realistic. Okay, the glide slope is coming. We are cleared for the ILS approach. Beautiful. I really like the hand flying characteristics of the airplane here. They did capture this little bit of delay that you have in the flight controls, and that just makes the entire airplane feel a little bit sluggish, and they really captured that nicely. Blast up star. Go around altitude 900 meters set. So in an optimal case we can follow the 3D glide slope in idle thrust and more or less maintain a constant airspeed. Glide slope. And indeed we can, that's looking pretty good. Alright, flaps 2.
2,500.
Speed checked, flaps 2. So, there is no ballooning on Airbus aircraft, as the French say. Gear down. The landing gear does take a little while to come down, but that's normal. It is a massive gear after all. Okay, flaps 3. Speed checked. And the cabin is still not ready. Let's give him a little ding. And look at that, all of a sudden the cabin is ready. Don't do that in the real world, you are not gonna make yourself friends. Okay, flaps full. Speed checked. Flaps full. Landing checklist, econ memo, landing no blue, landing checklist complete. Okay, I'm gonna keep the auto thrust on. Well, you know what? I am gonna take it off, because why not? So we're looking at roughly 46% N1. And since the question just came up again, yes, we are indeed looking at the N1 gauge over here, not at the EPR gauge. It's just easier to fly the airplane based on N1. So, correcting the speed. I just don't want to overcorrect here. Back to the 46%.
500.
And look at this once again. The glide slope and the PAPI match exactly, and indeed it seems quite good with the position of the runway itself. That's exactly how things should be.
400.
Land.
300 above.
Checked. Indeed, a very nice approach path, which does...
Caution, taxiway.
Nope.
Caution, taxiway.
Nope, that's definitely a runway. Continue. So VRAS seems to have some issues here with the new sim.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, spoiler, reverse green, decel. So, first exit, that's not ours. And we're approaching the second exit, that's the one we're gonna take. 70 knots. Alright, excellent. The scenery loaded. We nicely vacated the runway. What else could you ask for? That was a good approach. And I'm immediately starting the APU so that we can do a little bit of single engine taxi. Okay, we will have to cross runway 35 right over here. Let's pay careful attention that there is nobody currently on the run. And it seems to me like there might indeed be someone lining up right now. Yeah, there is. Okay, then we are going to hold short of the runway until that departure is out. So, the departure is rolling. And the departure is in the air, so we are going to cross runway 35 right. After landing checklist, please. Radar and predictive wind shear off. After landing checklist complete. So the next aircraft is already lining up, but we do have our lineup clearance. So let's... Oh, sorry, our crossing clearance. And then we can continue straight, and I think I see a free gate over there. Okay, clear on both sides, and we have APU availed, shutdown engine 2. Engine 2 shutdown. So, Wizz Air cargo, I've never seen that before. And I'm not sure what a KLM 73 or... Yeah, I think that's a 737, isn't it? Okay, don't ask me what they are doing here. So, there's a free gate over there. And I don't actually see any on the left. Okay, so we've got a taxi over to the right-hand side then. Lots of lovely aircraft over here. I just wish they had proper livery supplied. that an MD-80 over there? Beautiful. MD-90, yeah. Okay, the lights are going off, and we are gonna turn left into that gate over here, number 22. So, 7 knots is roughly good. I will add a little bit of power so that we don't lose too much speed while turning onto the gate here. That's looking good. And then we are clear on the left side. Okay, no guidance system. Let's see if A330 is written anywhere over here. Doesn't really look like... Oh yeah, here it is. On the third of those stripes. So a little bit further forward and stop somewhere over here. Okay, brake set. Nope, not you, but you. APU bleed us on and shutdown. Cabin crew, all doors in park. Alright, the engine is running down. Beacon off. Seatbelts off. And fuel pumps off. Alright, parking checklist please. Park and brake our trucks. Brake set, engines off, fuel pumps off, parking checklist complete. So then, transponder going off, the fuel is roundabout even and nicely balanced. And last but not least, our IRS performance is looking good. Very good. With that, welcome to Shanghai. I do hope you enjoyed this flight. Let me know your feedback in the comments below. Let me know how you like the sceneries. And I'm really looking forward to see you all again on the next one. In the meantime, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching and see you all again on the next one.